Hey agents, thanks for tuning into my second video for TU12. In this one I'm discussing the Rigger gear set of the use that I found in it, because after I did some testing in the summit mode right up to the top floor, so it works quite well. It has its uses. But first, before I discuss the Rigger, this is actually my skill build I've been using since TU10, my DPS build. Mix and matching the branches to get the most duration, most skill damage that I could. This obviously before the Rigger became available in TU12. So I'm using on this one the turret with 119, 240 base damage without the spotter and the perfect combined arms you could see there. If you've been playing the game for a while, you should know the icons. And there's a striker drone, the 74,425 damage. So that's a striker drone assault turret. I'm using spotter, perfect combined arms, because the perfect combined arms gives you a skill damage buff for 30 seconds every time you hit an enemy. And I'm hitting the enemies the whole time. I'm shooting the whole time. So as long as you're shooting, you should get that skill damage buff. The spotter is activated via these. Via the two skills here, they're pulsing the NPCs the whole time, and I'm having the linked laser pointer on both guns. So anything I target also gets pulsed. So everything is being pulsed the whole time. That's why spotter works very well. And you can keep the base damage in mind, which I showed you there. So this is actually my tried and tested build: Operation Iron Wars, Summit, even legendaries as well. If you have a team, if you have to be the DPS guy, if you don't like using the mortar turret, you can use this perfectly fine. So there's nothing for me to change on this build. Just skill damage everywhere, basically, and skill haste. Skill haste is a big thing on this build. You need to skill haste on your mask, your chest, and your backpack. But I've been speaking too much about this now. This is not what the video is about. It's about the Rigger gear set, which is down here. So why would I actually want to use the Rigger gear set above the one I just showed you? Even though the base damage there is lower, I'm using the two same skills because I like these two. You can use whatever you want to, but there's 111,000. It's a bit lower. The base damage of the skills are a bit lower. But there's good reason for that. Is because I'm not matching the brand sets, so I'm losing a bit of skill damage. So for this Rigger to actually work, you need to use 4 pieces. And if you're not using the backpack, you might as well not use it at all, because that's the point. The whole point of the Rigger is to be more efficient with your skills, because cancelling your skills will reset the cooldown completely. So on the other build I showed you, this cooldown on both of those skills are about 11 point something seconds. So either when the NPC destroy them, or when their duration runs out, I have to wait 11 seconds before I can use them. The benefit of using the Rigger is before the NPC, if the NPCs don't destroy them, all you have to do is you have to cancel your skills before the duration runs out, and then there's no 11-second cooldown, or whatever percentage, whatever seconds of cooldown you have. So this does not work. It won't actually be in your best interest to use this on all skills. Only the skills that you actually cancel, like your mortar. It won't actually do anything on cluster mines, because your cluster mines, you won't destroy them before they hit the NPCs. So it's quite pointless on that one. You can use it on a hive as well. Maybe the stinger hive, you can use this on that one. I've used that in the summer to actually get the capacitor, where you have to bleed the NPCs. Even if you use a sticky bomb, there's no point in that, because you're not going to cancel it, you fire it. The fire chem launcher, there's no point in that either. So it all depends. This Rigger gear set depends on the skills that you can actually destroy. If you like using them, then this will actually be of benefit to you. Otherwise you might not use it at all. And like I said, yeah, you have to use a backpack, otherwise there's no point. I was using the chest piece, which increases the damage buff that you get on the 4 piece, the 10 and defend. So it takes it from 25% to 50%, that skill damage buff. But that skill damage buff, when you actually use it in practice, is not as strong as the skill DPS build I showed you before. This my initial one that I've been using for months already. It's not as strong as that. So I decided to use the 4 piece, but use the mask, the backpack obviously, and the glove and the holster here. And I decided to stick with the with a Wyvern one piece for the 10% skill damage you get on the one piece of the brand set. I've chosen kinetic momentum. There isn't actually much choice there. I could have used kinetic momentum or Overwatch, but Overwatch depends on you sitting in one place for longer than, I think it's 10 or 12 seconds. It's not always possible to sit in the same place. At least kinetic momentum works the whole time while you are in combat. So that's why I chose kinetic momentum. I'm not using spotter because I'm not willing to, like the same like with the skill DPS build, I'm not willing to give up one of these skills to have a pulse in it, so I can use the capacitor for spotter damage. And something which I have also incorporated here is the fox sprayer with skill damage on it. Because I wanted to do a little bit more damage with the capacitor. The capacitor is actually a very good weapon. If you think about the capacitance of the weapon talent there, shooting enemies balls stacks to a cap of 40. Each stack grants 1.5% skill damage. After 5 seconds, stacks decay 1 per second. And for each skill tier you have, you gain 7.5% weapon damage. And I have a 6. I am skier tier 6 for my skills, even though I'm using a overload there with a core weapon damage. The technician adds the 1 core to it, so that's why I'm at skill tier 6. So like I said, there's 111,966 base damage, and there's 69,000 base damage. And the other, if you're thinking about on the mod stats, you can put whatever you want to, but I decided to put some crit chance in there because you don't need to put skill haste in here, because as long as you cancel your skills, you don't actually need to worry about skill haste. So that's why I dumped as much crit chance in here as I possibly could. I can only put it in 3 places. It would actually be cool if I could have that armor regen with the optimization station. I could change that armor regen. I could change it to crit chance as well. But I don't even have enough optimization resources to be able to do that. So the stats on here on my skill DPS build, the mix and match set I just showed you, I have 10% skill crit chance on that one. On this one at least I have 37.5% crit chance. On harmony as well, 37.5%. That's my rifle. There's no point in showing you the maximum because I hardly ever use it unless I'm using pistol. Unless the directive is pistolero or something, you won't actually need the pistol. So guys, that's basically it. The fox sprayer adds damage to target out of cover, the 8%, which is quite nice. It's multiplicative, the same like with this damage to armor. I rolled this capacitor 3 times to get to those rolls, so I'm running out of exotic components so I'd rather stop there rather than having to roll it 5 times again to get to similar stats, because that's the gamble you take. So the build rolls really well. Let me just show you where. Okay, here's the shooting range. Just a quick demonstration of this. It's on heroic, by the way. There we go. Put it on. Okay, I'll put it on named. So basically how it works. Okay, there's my kinetic momentum kicking in. Okay, let me take cover here. I'll throw the 1 skill over there. Let my drone do some flying. Okay, let me shoot a bit with the capacitor. Just target this thing. So there we go. That's basically how it works. So here's the thing about the Rigger. There my skills are active. Cancel both of them. There we go, ready to go. That's the only reason why we want to use a capacitor. It's basically for that. Not the capacitor, why you want to use the Rigger set. For me, that's basically it. You can continuously just throw them and throw them and throw them out, basically. So that's to me what the Rigger is about. The Rigger, so once again in summary, the Rigger just allows you, if you're using the backpack, otherwise Yeah, there's no point in using it at all. The backpack is to have to take away the cooldown you have if you break your skills. However, if the NPCs destroy your skills, then obviously it's useless. You have to wait the cooldown. So that's the only negative. That's one of the negative things. And if the NPCs destroy it, you have to wait that 20-second cooldown. Unless you take the crit chance mods out and you put some skill haste in there, or on here. If you can have some skill haste on here as well, it will help a little bit. But otherwise, you can just put skill damage on. I mean, skill damage there on all the pieces, skill damage everywhere. Just the same like the other DPS build, skill damage everywhere. And if you can dump skill haste in there, it will help a little bit. But that's the negative thing about the Rigger. The damage is not so good if you use the chest piece. The damage is a bit worse. A bit worse off with the damage buff is not as strong as if you use a traditional build. And if the NPCs destroy your skills, you're basically left in the dark basically. So that's the thing about the Rigger. And also depends if you like using a skill that you won't cancel, then this is not the gear set to use for that anyway. It'll mostly be the stuff like the all the turret variants, the drone variants, the hive variants. Those are things that you actually cancel. So for those, this will take it away. It will help a lot with those. But if it's not the skill that you will cancel, like the cluster mines and the sticky bombs and the chem launch and all that stuff, those type of skills, and then this is not the gear set to use for that. Kinetic momentum, I think that's, for me, like I said, better than Overwatch, because Overwatch you have to sit in the same spot for 12 seconds, and if you don't do a cover to cover like holding X, then it will fall away. You have to start over to get the damage buff. And like I said, I'm not using spotter here because then I have to use a pulse, and I want to use these two skills. So that's the thing about the Rigger. There's other ways to do it. There's actually point in using, if you use a 4-piece Rigger with a memento backpack, then it's actually pointless using the Rigger. You have to use the backpack to actually get the benefit of it. Otherwise, there's no point to me in the whole Rigger gear set if you're not using the backpack. Weapons, you can use what you want to, but I would recommend the capacitor. It's actually really good, especially if you can maybe have some weapon damage at least on one of the pieces. If you use technician, it will give you that extra core you need to be at skill tier 6. So guys, that's I think that's about it for this build. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.